We're going to explain how to zip Excel files using JavaScript. This isn't something you can do directly in the browser using only JavaScript's built-in functions. You'll need a library. We'll use JSZip, a popular and powerful library for handling zip files. First, you need to include the JSZip library in your HTML file. You can download it from the JSZip GitHub repository and include it via a script tag or use a CDN link. 1. Let's assume you've already done this, and your Excel files, let's say they're named file1.xlx and file2.xlx, are stored locally or accessible via a URL. 2. We'll start by creating a new JSZip instance. Then we'll use the file method to add each Excel file to the zip archive. We will provide the file name within the zip archive as the first argument, and the file's content, which you can load using a file reader or a fetch request, depending on whether it's local or on a server, as the second argument. 3. To get the contents of an Excel file, assuming it's a local file accessible via a file input, we use a file reader. You create a new file reader object, set the onload event handler to process the file's data, which will be in the result property once it's loaded, and then call FileReader read as array buffer file to read the file's binary data. 4. Once all files are added, use the generateAsync method to generate a zip file as a blob. The type parameter specifies the content type, application zip for zip files. 5. Finally, create a link element. Set its href attribute to a URL pointing to this blob, set the download attribute to the desired file name, e.g. myexcelarchive.zip, and trigger a click event to initiate the download. This will prompt the user to save the zipped files. 6. If your Excel files are hosted on a server, instead of using FileReader, you'd fetch them using the Fetch API. The Fetch API will return a response object, from which you can obtain the blob, which will provide the same result as what FileReader.read as array buffer provided. Remember to handle potential errors during file reading or fetching. You should wrap your code in try-to-catch blocks to catch and handle exceptions gracefully and provide informative error messages to the user. Remember to include error handling for network issues, file access errors, and issues with the JSZip library itself. This process creates a zip archive containing your Excel files ready for download.